Hey Nick, how are you today?
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. So, you're a tight end. Just looking at the NFL and the players in the NFL, what player do you model your game after?
Uh, man, there's a lot of tight ends, that I watch, but closely, and just in terms of route running and the way he do things, I would say Darren Waller. He played for the Oakland Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders. Just his, we watched him a lot. Me being here too, try to mimic my game off of him as well. And then we end up watching, Nick Boyle. Another tight end, I try to model my, my blocking game off of trying to just get better in general, my blocking game. So I can say them two guys, I really want to, get a chance to meet too, and not only meet, but just being able to model my game after them.
Thank you. Good luck in the draft process.
Thank you.
Just a reminder, if you have a question, throw your name in the chat function and we'll call on you. Next question here is from Angelique.
Nick, what has your pre-draft preparation been like? Where have you been, and where do you think you've improved during this time?
So I've been training down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. At XPE. It's a well-known, area for like dudes that run fast 40s. So I've been there, since January 3rd. Just been there training in terms of, just getting faster. And basically, building better and more muscle, and started eating the right things too as well. Body's feeling great, and everything has been down in Florida. You got the hot weather, so you adjust to that climate in terms of running wise and being conditioned. So I can say right now I feel very good in terms of just my body in general. And can't wait for Friday to come.
The next question for you is from Owen.
Hey Nick, you've played like what seems like an endless number of quarterbacks at Michigan. How did that force you to make adjustments throughout your career at Michigan, and how has it helped you grow into a more complete player?
Just playing like you said, playing with different amount of quarterbacks. It's a challenge because it's different timings with all quarterbacks that I play with, but at the same time, it's one objective. Create opportunity for them to get me the ball. And I mean, it made me as a, just a great player all around, just being able to adapt to them, just being able to adapt with different quarterbacks, especially like different arm strengths and the good throws they can make, and, just creating that chemistry with each and every one of them to be able to, create the exact timing they need, for me to get open and be able to make the catches that I made.
Your next question is from Ryan.
Hey, Nick, was there any part of your game that you felt maybe was underutilized at Michigan that maybe you want to show off to NFL teams here?
Well, I wouldn't say it's anything that I didn't, was limited to, but I could say I kind of use both of my abilities. As you guys know, I got better in terms of, being able to block well in certain games, and that came a long way. Everyone knew is like, my catching ability and being able to create separation and get open in terms of, getting open in the secondary. But I can say I was utilized a lot more in both areas this past season, the season before that. So I wouldn't say, there was things I was limited on, but I mean, I took what I had in terms of, especially this last season that passed, and just ran with it.
And just a quick follow-up, what would constitute a successful pro day for you tomorrow?
Man, just getting a fast time, faster than 40. Because most dudes, they most teams, they look at me and see that, he's a big dude. He can block if he gets it down packed well, But most things, people notice about me, like I can really run, and that's one thing I want to emphasize in terms of my pro day tomorrow. Just being able to run fast.
Do you have a specific time in mind that you're aiming for? Or?
I wouldn't say I'm hoping, but I honestly think I could get, a high 4.5, something I can be able to accomplish. So that's exactly what I'm aiming for.
The next question for you is from Angelique.
Nick, I was just wondering your impressions of Sharon Moore as a coach, and now he's coaching the offensive line. What do you think he will take to that?
He always served the purpose of energy, and that was with us. He'll point out the wrongs and the rights. Sometimes the rights don't always be what you expect. The pat on the back, anything like that. Just some type of confirmation of you doing a good job. But he always points it out, and at the same time too, just his energy in general. He brings the juice. He brings the most out of you and your players or whoever he coaches. So, and one thing for sure, when he's in the building. So I can say, man, they got the O-line in general will be 10 times probably better as they was last year because of Coach Moore.
Next question for you is from Rainer.
Yeah, I mean, what were your impressions of Cade when he came in, especially against Rutgers? And I mean, there was one pass that he threw to you for the touchdown. Seemed like he kind of threw you open in that situation. Does he have that ability? And how much do you think that could help Michigan going forward?
Overall, Cade was a good dude in terms of everything he did to his fullest. Especially with him though, with at that time being up front as quarterback one, he always played the role of being ready instead of getting ready. So when he came in the game, it was almost like he prepared for that moment. And when he came in and took four drives down for a touchdown, it was more like, yeah, we knew that was going to happen. So I can say now he's developing to that person of knowing what his role is now in terms of, how the way he competes. So I can't wait to see what's in store for him this season coming up.
With his ability to operate kind of the RPO and different aspects of the offense, did you see it functioning a little bit better? And was it the offense that you kind of thought Michigan would have last season?
Yeah, for sure. Because the RPO, it worked in our favor last season, being able to run it with Shea and the other dudes. It got better in terms of how the way they do things now, especially getting a glimpse of how they practice and do things. So I could say the RPO scheme is just getting as better as it had ever been in terms of, especially running with Cade now. So Cade knows the option to be able to run too. As you can see last season, he had a couple of good runs, especially against Rutgers. So I can say that it works in our favor in terms of, just the offense in general, getting those dudes accustomed to it.
Just a reminder, if you have a question, put it in the chat function and we'll call on you. Got a little bit more time with Nick. Next question comes from Isaiah.
Hey, Nick. With Eric All, how have you seen him develop? And I know he didn't exactly have the 2020 that he had hoped, but what kind of player have you seen when you were in practices with him, and what can he be for Michigan?
I would say I would relate that to, just his playing style. I relate that to me, when Sean was here, being that number two dude, especially when I was number one and he was number two, just playing that role as if like he has the athleticism to do anything and everything on the field in terms of lining him in the backfield, lining him out wide. So he became a great competitor in terms of the way he did things. He, like I said before, he craves to hit people. So that'll run with him in a long while. And I just can't wait for him to develop into the player that I know he's capable of being. And all he needs is that potential push. And I know he'll find it within this next season to be able to come out on top as tight end one.
To follow up, you'd worked with Jay Harbaugh as the tight ends coach before, and now that he's back working with the tight ends, what's different that he brings to the table as a coach?
I would say his knowledge, because at that time he coached the tight ends, he coached Jake Butt as well. So at that time he put like Jake Butt in the league too as well. Those dudes just being able to coach somebody like Jake was very important for other dudes to see that. So at that time too, I was there, so I know everything that Coach Jake taught, Jake. So that being said, he's bringing a lot more to the table in terms of just his knowledge to the game and how tight ends ran, in 2016 and 2015. So I can't honestly wait either for what he does for that group.
Next question is from Angelique.
Nick, when you're talking about your time, how did you shave any time when you were working out with that group in Florida, or have you been pretty consistent?
Shaved a lot of time, like a lot of time off, in terms of my running ability with my 40. And that was either, whether it was correct technique in terms of with my hands and with my stride. So I can say that I made a huge improvement in terms of me running, you know, my 40 better than what I did when I first got back to Florida. So yeah, I can't honestly wait to see the numbers I put up, you know, tomorrow.
The next question for you is from Mateus.
Thank you. Thank you. Yesterday when we talked with some Michigan players, they talk about how good it is for you, like having Coach Harbaugh, because have the NFL experience, and say that a lot of what you do in practices and games, is the NFL level of like organization. How do you think that having this kind of head coach can make your transition smooth for the NFL?
Man, you can interview and talk to dudes in the league that played here, man. They always gonna tell you too, like it was an easy transition of how they practice and how they do things. You know, it's Harbaugh is like an exceptional coach, and when it comes to, you know, doing things. So when being here, being able to practice, and you know, with the times that we practice, the times that we train off season and in season, you know, it was always pro related style. So it made it easy for them to translate over to the NFL, because that's the way the NFL did those things. So I can say Harbaugh has been a helpful way in terms of, like, you know, us transferring over to this new level. So I couldn't say nothing to be different in terms of what to expect, but I know for sure that I'll be at least somewhat accustomed to it.
Thanks a lot. Good luck on the draft.
Thank you.
Next question is from Aaron McMahon.
Nick, what's your message to NFL teams when you're talking to them about what you bring to the table?
Somebody that's gonna work hard, you know, not only work hard, because I know that's probably everybody's, you know, message to them, but just being able to come in, you know, and just be a sponge, just soak in every knowledge that I can, you know, just to help an organization win, or anything I can do to contribute to play myself, you know, get on the field early if I possibly can, but just to be there, just to get there and you know, soak in knowledge and just gain that knowledge that I had in college, more knowledge than I had in the NFL. So just being able to come in and be able to work right away.
We have time for one or two more if anyone had a question for Nick.